Hello, this is Gary Marr. This screen capture is going to be on Google Sheets. In this screen capture, I'm going to do a little bit of review of the Google Docs video that was the second in this series, and I might even talk a little bit about the first video, which was just general information about Google Drive. For this particular screencast, instead of going in my checkerboard and selecting Sheets, what I'm going to do is select Drive. I can still create a new sheet with this product or with this application, but it's a little nicer to navigate and place things from Google Drive than it is to try to do it from each individual product in itself. So last time what I had done is I created two documents, one we worked on in class and one that I created before class. So the first thing I want to do is a little bit of cleanup. So I'm going to right click on that particular document that's no good, and what I'm going to do is remove it. So as you can see, this works a lot like what you would see in Windows Explorer. In fact, we can make it look a little bit more like a list format by clicking that icon, or we can go more with a checkerboard like that. It's your choice. The other thing I wanted to do today is I want to create a new drive, or new folder, new folder. So I'm going to click on New and then Folder. And let's see, there it is. And what I'm going to call this is Google Drive. Okay, that's going to create it. And what should happen is I now will have, next to my other two folders that are created for some other work that I did, a new folder called Google Drive. Now, as I said before, when you create a document for the first time, especially if it's created, it also happens in Google Drive, but especially if you click on the icon for Docs or the icon for Sheets or the icon for Slides, it'll put this file automatically in the root folder. It's not going to classify it for you in any kind of folder to keep it organized. So what I want to do is I want to take that first document that I worked on. I'm going to select on the Move To option. I'm going to select My Drive, and what's going to pop up here is a list of all the folders I currently have. Let's see, we'll try it again. There they are. And I want to place that in Google Drive. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to have to go down a little bit here. 1 second. And the button's just kind of taken off the screen a little bit there. And let's open up this now, and there it is. Okay. But we're not going to work too much with Google Docs today. What I want to work with next is the Sheets product, which is a spreadsheet. So I'm going to say New, and I'm going to say Google Sheets. It's going to do the same type of thing it did with Google Docs. It's going to create a, it's going to start the application. It's going to have the menus and the ribbon bars, much like Google Docs did. It's also going to let me create a file name for this. So I'm going to say first sheet. Okay. And you're going to find that a lot of the information that I shared in the first lecture is also going to be somewhat valid here. Now, what a spreadsheet is, if you've never worked with one before, it's a grid. It's a matrix, rows and columns. It's a very good way of tabulating numbers, and then from those numbers you can create things like charts. You'll have an assessment at the end of this lecture that's going to ask you to do some different things. This particular lecture might be a little on the longer side, so there may be 1 or 2 more lectures that cover specific things. I'm thinking more or less probably like charts, especially charts. But if you go down the menu options, you're going to find, just like they exist in a very common way in most Windows applications, and I guess you could probably say Apple and Linux also, these are the same, this is set up the same way. They're trying to make this as intuitive as possible and look like other products you might have used. So here we go. This is almost identical to Docs, okay, or Doc. And the difference on the download is that instead of being able to select Microsoft Word, well, spreadsheets are going to go into Microsoft Excel. And then you can see some of the other formats that are accepted. Sometimes you'll have to create comma or tab separated spreadsheets or files. Files better than spreadsheets, better way of classifying it, when you want to import information in databases. All right, so let's get out of there for now. Let's go back up to View. You can have grid lines, you can take them off, you can have a formula bar. Again, these are more specific to spreadsheets. But again, if you've had any experience with Excel especially, they should all look fairly familiar. You can add and subtract rows and columns. You can move data around. You've got the ability to add charts, images, drawings, forms. The Google Drive Form program is a very powerful one. It's more like a database. We're not going to cover it in this class, but I would strongly suggest you mess with it a little bit. You can access it from the Google Sheets menus. In fact, we'll see it, I think, in a second out of data. Here's some of the formatting you can do. Same kinds of things are available in Word. You can filter data if you've used filters at all in Excel. They're a very handy way of sorting and also looking for data that might be in one of the rows of that spreadsheet. Tools, this is where you access the forms. I was thinking it was data, but it's forms. This is where you can create a form, a nice data entry form that has the labels and text boxes to grab a bunch of information, either as input or even to show people. And then what you can do is you can start in a spreadsheet for more manipulation, either in reports or to even change some data if it needs to be updated. It also has add-ons, a lot of those. I would suggest you look those over. You can share these documents with others so that only you can work on it, or somebody else can look at it, someone else can work and also edit it. It depends on what you want to do. Here's our comment notification button. It does support history, just like Google Docs did. All right. So, for example, maybe the classic one here is probably a budget of some sort. I might have this might be an account. I guess I should want to spell here. Account. This might be for January. This might be for February. Okay. And what you can then put is sales. You might have another line item called expenses. Let's make it somewhat the same. You might have a third one called profits. Okay, you might have had $100 in sales in February, 100 January, 200 in February. You might have $50 of expenses in February, and you might have had $65 in February. I think I got them crisscrossed again. And then what you can do in spreadsheets is you can create formulas. So I could say equals, okay, this number, and I hit the minus sign. Then I click on my next field. You can see it formulating an equation down here. B would be the column, 3 would be the row. So B3, sales minus expenses would hopefully be profits. If I wanted to, I can copy that formula. This works the same as Excel. There'll be a little box in the bottom right corner. When I drag it, it'll automatically change that formula. So it now says C3 minus C4. Now, if I was to enter it at other months, I could drag that formula across, and it would carry over for me. A lot of these techniques that you can use with spreadsheets can be found on YouTube, either with Sheets or even with Excel. I mean, Excel is, and also Docs, or Word Doc, when talking about documents, are the premier products out there, and they've been used by literally millions of people for years. But definitely Google Drive has made a real statement by providing a free, easy to use, available from anywhere as long as you have the internet option for word processing, spreadsheets, and basically slide presentations. I can get some more menu options here. Some of this is just simply formatting. Some of it's a little tricky. Filters don't exist in Word. Summation doesn't exist in Word, or these are functions actually. There's a whole bunch of mathematical functions available to you. You can sum like I did, average, count, min, max, and then there's a whole host more that you can do. All of these are statistical functions available to you that you can insert in one of these cells. The nomenclature behind spreadsheets is that such that these are called rows, these are called columns, the intersection is called a cell. The cell address for count would be A2, January, B2. You can store either text in a cell, or you can put a number in a cell, or finally you can have a formula in a cell. The contents of the cell will be displayed up here in this little command line. If it's simply a number, it shows as a number. If it's a formula, it shows as a formula. If it's text, it'll be there as text. You can run into some issues sometimes when mixing formulas, or when you build a formula that has letters and numbers in it. That probably is outside what we can cover in this particular lecture, but there's a lot of information out there on the net to help you with that. If I want to make this particular section of my spreadsheet to have more color, to make it stand out more, I could certainly go with the color option. I can make the fill color, let's see, hope I have this, fill color black, and I want to make the formula color white. I can also make this more of a grid. So if I select the grid tool, I can make it I can either put a line above it, a line below it, I can box it all, or more importantly, I can make it a grid like that. In fact, what I might want to do is make this a separate color. since it's something I'm very interested in, profits. Okay, and I also might want to have this one, this particular line, have maybe a dark line on top. I'm not sure if that's going to show through. Not enough. I should probably have taken off the formatting completely. But you can do a lot of messing around with this format-wise, just like you can with a document. I can certainly also take and select a row here and put a filter on it. Let's see if this will do it easily. Okay, let's take that out of there. And this will allow me to basically either reverse sort it. As you can see here, I've just broken my formula. That's what that does. Control Z should reverse it. It's not going to do that for me. I'm sorry. Let me go back this way. And Control Z will typically back off your last option. Oh, there it is. I just didn't hit it right. So now I'm back to where I was before, and I no longer have the error. But the undo and the undo and redo also exists with Sheets, just like it did with Docs, and just like it exists with most programs that are supported in a Windows environment. The summation is kind of a neat thing, or the functions is really a very powerful feature of this. I mean, I know that I'm also a college professor, and Excel spreadsheets or spreadsheets and Google spreadsheets are used extensively in economics and business math classes because they're so powerful in terms of reporting numbers back to customers or the owners of a business. I'm going to stop here today, and I'm going to ask you to go out there and experiment with this, try different features and functions, get comfortable with it, and keep an eye out for a second video where I'll probably talk to you more about creating charts with this. What you can do is once the data is in your spreadsheet, it's in a nice tabulated format, but you might want to also show it in a chart. That's also available. Now, in terms of saving this, it will be automatically saved by Google. In fact, you won't even see a save option there. You can still make a copy of this. If you wanted to have a copy to change, keep the original one in its pristine form, you can do that, or you can also download it as an Excel spreadsheet if there's something you want to do that maybe isn't available in Sheets but Excel can do for you. These products, even though both Docs and Sheets are very much like their counterparts in the world of Microsoft, they're still not quite as powerful. Don't have as many features. That's it for now. If you have any questions, send me an email. Thank you.